Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Fiction and Feelings. Today, my back is killing me. I'm in so much pain, and my allergies are really making me suffer. So, we're going to do a bed episode where we're just chilling and we're talking about all the books that I've read from April to June. Now, while I'm filming this, it's still June. It's going to be posted in June, like the early middle of June. And therefore, I wouldn't have read all the books that I would have read for June or listened to all the books that I would have listened to for June. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop a TBR for 3 books that I want to read in the rest of June. So, one audiobook, one physical book, and one ebook that I want to complete before the end of June. And then in the next wrap up video, I'm going to be telling you guys if I did read those and what I thought about them. So, in this video, it's a spoiler free video. So, we're going to do summaries. I'm going to tell you the date that it was released and the author. Now, these were released all over the place. None of these were. Are any of these recent releases? I don't think any of these are recent releases, actually. Because I was just going based on whatever I felt like reading. And I do have some of the videos. I do have some videos that I have recorded already and are already up on the channel. So you can click the link in the whichever side it is in the cards so that you can see the video corresponding to whatever I'm talking about. I think there's 4 videos. So if you want in depth how I felt about that book or read with me, depending on which book it is, you can click to actually see how I feel about that book after you've already read it. If you just want the summaries, the release dates, the authors, and my rating, so my 5-star rating on this book, you can just keep watching. First book, Finding Cinderella by Colleen Hoover. So I actually listened to this instead of reading this one. I listened to this as an audiobook because I had the Audible subscription and I was just picking a random book to listen to. Now, I had downloaded this a long time ago and it was just in my Audible library, but I never actually listened to it. Then I was just like, you know what? I am walking my dog and I have nothing to do. So I'll just listen to this. And right. So Colleen Hoover, the release date was October 14th, 2013. Now I will say this does feel like a 2013 book. This 100% feels like if this hasn't been written anytime now, not just because of like references or anything. It just feels like if it's not a good book, it is not. And I only realized after, because as you guys know, I don't like to read books when I know like the full summary because I usually feel as though it gives away the plot, which is why I'm doing this video to read the summaries and tell you guys if I think it gives away the plot. So with this one, I think that I went into it not even knowing that it was a part of a series, like a novella series that Colleen Hoover had did, and not just like a standalone book of itself. I think it took 4 hours on Audible to listen to it. And like I said, I listened to it most of the time when I was like walking the dog or like driving. So it didn't really take very long to get through this book. But the summary, a chance encounter in the dark leads 18-year-old Daniel and a girl who stumbles across him to profess their love for each other. But this love has conditions. They agree it will last 1 hour and it will only be make believe. When their hour is up and the girl rushes off like Cinderella, Daniel tries to convince himself that what happened between them seems perfect only because they were pretending that it was. Moments like that happen only in fairy tales. Now, Do I think that that one gives it away? Not really. I mean, that is pretty much the plot of it, and it doesn't really give away, in my opinion, of course, because this is my video, so it's my opinion. This book didn't really have much to go with. So you do the whole Cinderella thing in the first 5 seconds, essentially, and then you get more story. And it's like if they added in characters so that the book would be a book, it could have been a short story. That's how it felt. And I guess that's what novellas are, but at the same time, it literally felt like if all of that didn't have to happen because you saw where it was going and you knew what the characters were to each other without the characters knowing it. And that honestly pisses me off sometimes, where it just feels like I know as the audience, but it's not. So I know the entire story and it's not really giving me anything else to go off of. So I'm not like intrigued or like fascinated. I don't want to know more. I'm just like, okay, are they gonna figure it out? Are they gonna do anything about this? No, we're gonna be in denial. We're what? Yeah. So going based on that summary, it doesn't give it away because, well, it does give it away because that's all that there is to it. But I don't think it gives away any like plot twist because I know it usually sometimes, not usually, sometimes they can really tell you the plot. They can really tell you the plot. But this doesn't tell you the plot because there isn't really much plot. If you guys understand what I'm saying. I think I would rate this like a 3. And that's why I didn't make a video on it because it was like entertaining enough that I finished it, but it wasn't really very good. So maybe a 2. Let's give this like a 2.5. It was very mid. It was like, I finished it, but also if it was any longer than it was, I probably wouldn't have because there's no point to it, in my opinion. Okay. The themes in that one are insta love, secrets, found love, teenage trauma, identity. Those are kind of the themes. I would say that it has insta love, secrets, yes. Found love, I guess if you're calling what they have love. Book 2. So the next book is pretty much on the same vibes of I know the story. They don't know the story. As in the characters don't know the story, and I'm sitting waiting for the story to just unfold. And this one is Love on the Brain by Ali Hazelwood. I literally just finished this a couple hours ago. And this one was released in August 2022. So August 23rd, 2022. And this one is, I liked it. So I would give it a 3 versus the 2.5 that I just, 2 or 2.5 that I just gave to Finding Cinderella. It was better than Finding Cinderella, but it also was like I was so frustrated with the lead because it felt like if no matter what, she just wanted to be stubborn. And I was so over it, honestly. I was kind of just like, can we just, can we just admit? Like, there's absolutely no reason why we're still doing this whole back and forth and back and forth and back and forth because all of this could have actually been resolved if you just stopped being stubborn because there were times where she was explicitly told things and she was just like, no, that's not true. Like the person just told you. And then I guess the ending pretty early on. And then to see it unfold, I did like how it unfolded. But I was also just like, this entire time I've been pissed off with the main character because they've just been stubborn. And I felt like if I couldn't relate, like at first it was relatable because it was like, okay, I want to be in denial. And you understood how the book was going, and you understood that you were going to know what the characters were going through, and they were going to have to unfold it as the books went along. Like with all of Ali Hazelwood's books that I've read so far, that's how it's been. So I was like sticking it out because I knew that that's how it was, and I was just reading it because it was like a light-hearted read. It wasn't anything that was supposed to be deep, so I wasn't like too upset about the fact that I already knew what was going to happen. But at the same time, it just felt like if the stubbornness of this character was played out so much that it was frustrating, because it was just like, this isn't frustrating on a level where I'm like, oh, this is so cute. And you're like, plausible deniability or whatever. It's like, no, I'm explicitly telling you things and you're actually being an idiot. And it's getting to be so unrelatable, which it's like, okay, I understand that you've gone through things that are stopping you from wanting to like go forward, which is relatable. And if it wasn't as drawn out, then I'd have been like, okay, that was good. That was good plot development. You got the character growth. But it literally just felt like stuck, 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 stuck. We're moving nowhere. We're moving nowhere. Ending. And I was just like, really? But I didn't want to listen to it. So, like an avenging purple-haired Jedi bringing balance to the mansplaining universe, be calling Schweizer by a simple code. What would Marie Curie do? If NASA offered her the lead on a neural engineering project, a literal dream could come true after years scraping by on the crumbs of academia. Marie would accept without hesitation. Duh. But the mother of modern physics never had to co-lead with Levi Ward. Levi is attractive in a tall, dark, and piercing eyes kind of way. And sure, he caught her in his powerfully corded arms like a romance novel hero when she accidentally damseled in distress on her first date in the lab. But Levi made his feelings towards Bee very clear in grad school. Arch nemesis would work best employed in their own galaxies far, far away. Now her equipment is missing, the staff is ignoring her, and Bee finds her floundering career in somewhat of a pickle. Perhaps it's occipital cortex playing tricks on her, but Bee could swear she can see Levi softening into an ally, backing her plays, seconding her ideas, devouring with those eyes, and the possibilities have all neurons firing. But when it comes time to actually make the move and put her heart on the line, there's only one question that matters. What would be conning Schweizer? Yeah, I essentially just read the entire book to you in the summary. Like, there's nothing else. That's the entire book. That's the entire book. And this is why I don't read the back books. Because if I went into that, knowing that, I'd have been pissed off. And that's why I just literally don't read the summaries anymore, because it's just like, yeah, you just told me everything. You told me everything. I thought for a little plot twist that I guessed. I was right. Themes were enemies to lovers, STEM, feminism, academic rivals, workplace tension. I would say that all of those things were there. So that was a good representation of like the theme. So if you're feeling for academic rivals vibe and you don't want anything that is heavy, I would go for that. I did listen to Love Hypothesis before I listened to Love on the Brain. I haven't listened to Love Theoretically yet, but maybe. Book number 3. Against the Boards by Cynthia Gunderson. Emma can't fall for a player, but Tyler's game is proving difficult to ignore. Fate takes a slap shot for Emma's heart when she finds a driver's license outside a grocery store belonging to none other than Tyler, the center for her brother's hockey team. looks that scream plenty of scoring off ice. I feel like they could have stopped there with the description. Her protective brother warns her to stay away, but after a particularly patronizing comment, Emma decides to break free from the defense. Sean has always tried to control her relationships, and at 29, she's had enough. Stop talking. Stop. Stop the summary. Stop the summary. Stop it. Emma convinces Tyler to mess with Sean and pretend that they're in a relationship for just one night. Little does she know, Tyler has a surprise in his playbook. He needs Emma's assistance to face a formidable opponent, his father, the ultimate player of hearts. It was supposed to be all fun and games, but when the photography studio Emma works for is sold unexpectedly, and Tyler's dad offers her a job, she realizes she may have glided too far into enemy territory. And against the boards, the stakes are higher than a sudden death over time. Can Emma deliver the ultimate power play, skate away unscathed, or will love prove to be the most unpredictable game of all? That didn't give it away because there are a lot of other things in it that aren't explicitly stated in this summary. So I do like that. It is just like how Love on the Brain is and how Finding Cinderella are, where you get the general gist. They're like not deep reads, but they are fun type of reads. I would say I'm a hater of third person. We know this from the fact that I DNF'd what's that book called? I'll put it on the screen. When I DNF'd and I couldn't finish it because of the fact that I was in third person. So I struggled to read this. This one was an ebook for me, and I struggled to read it. Struggled, guys. But I got through it because I liked the story. So I pushed through it, and I was able to finish it. But the writing was bad. Just I want to say placement, like how it was written. It was just hard to follow at times, and I was just like, "You're lucky that I like this story. If not, I was done with this book." Crazy. That one I feel is a forbidden love theme, brothers, team player, because they're not really his best friend, brothers, team player, and a hockey romance. So those are the themes for that particular book, and I would say that is fitting of those themes. My star rating would be probably 2.5 as well, just because of how it was written. It would have been Love on the Brain 3, but that writing style pissed me off so much that I almost didn't finish that book. Like I had to put it down so many times and it was just giving me a headache. But I really liked the story and I was just like, couldn't this have been written better, guys? I really feel like if this could have been written better, like, what were you doing? What were you doing? Why wasn't it written better? Also, why is there a book called Against the Boards by Danica Flynn that is also a hockey romance? Like, why is everyone naming their book Against the Boards? I'm confused. We're confused. Like other names, guys. The next book is a book which we already have a video to, and that is Say You'll Remember Me, which I love. That one was by Amy Jimenez, and that came out 2025. That one just came out, and I loved it. It was perfect. It was perfection. I love. Click the link for that video because that one was. What were the themes in that? That one was grief. It was also long distance, one night stand kind of feels. So like second chance vibes. That's if that's what you're looking for. Say You'll Remember Me definitely fits that one. That one was heart wrenching to me because it had heavy topics. So that one is a deeper read than the other ones that we've just talked about. But like I said, there's a deeper video explaining my thoughts on book number 5 and 6 are 2 for 1 because that is The Way I Used to Be and The Way I Am Now. So The Way I Used to Be came out March 22nd, 2016, and The Way I Used to Be, no, The Way I Am Now came out 2007. No, it didn't. 2023, November 7th. That's when The Way I Am Now came out. So they came out far apart. And the first one is surviving essay. Eden's life unravels through 4 years of high school. She struggles with silent survival and eventually healing. Also, synopsis. And in the sequel, Eden begins the hard journey towards justice and rebuilding her life. Obviously, because those ones are synopses, they don't give it away. I personally hated book 1 and loved. So there is a read with me where I go through page by page of The Way I Used to Be, and then there's a separate video of The Way I Am Now where I just give a review of that. So if you want to hear my thoughts on those, you can click that video in the cards. Those the, there's a lot of trauma, there's a lot of shame, self-destruction, justice, or I should say striving for justice in those books because of the essay stuff. So those ones are heavier. And the first book, I don't think that the writer really had her writing chops. She was now getting into it, trying to dive in deep to a story, but it was really confusing. And I was just like, my head was spinning essentially while I was reading it. I was so confused reading it. I couldn't grasp what the main character was going through. And we were reading in a first person. So I felt like if I should have understood what the person was going through instead of being confused. Even though the person was confused, I felt like there was another way that we could have done that where I would have understood the confusion as a mature person looking in on it. I could have been like, okay, I see where that's coming from. I could understand why she's feeling those feelings. While reading it, I literally felt like if I was just lost. I was like, why are you doing some of the things that she's doing? Like it didn't make sense. And I was trying to look at it from a different perspective. I was trying to look at it from a child's perspective. Like if this happened to me. And the thing is, I would say that I've been through similar experiences that the character has been through. So looking at it, I was like, okay, I'm trying to understand. And I did obviously have the mindset of a 13-year-old through, and I'm still not understanding. And I'm feeling like if I'm supposed to connect to you, but I'm not connecting to you, I'm just pissed off at this. But then when I read from The Way I Am Now, I felt like if Amber Smith's writing was a lot better and I could understand more. So if you want a book that is deeper and it actually touches on emotions, I felt like this was such a good psychology kind of fiction read. Not because it talks a lot about psychology or explains things explicitly, but more so because it had a lot of emotions. And I feel like whenever people talk about essay in books, they don't really bring up the emotions very much. Like they don't bring up the anxiety or the sleeping issues that you could have when going through those things. And I felt like in this book, especially the second one, I felt like if a lot of the things that no one really talks about was talked about, and I liked that about this entire series. It's a 2-part series. The last book is One Golden Summer by Emily Henry. No, Carly Fortune. I don't know why I keep mixing those up. So, One Golden Summer by Carly Fortune is probably one of the last Fiction and Feelings episodes that I've done. I think that was either like the last episode or the episode before that. And yeah, you're gonna have to watch that video because I loved that book as well. I thought it was good because I had recently read, not recently, what am I saying? I had listened to, no, read Every Summer After, which is kind of like a prequel, but not really. They're like cousin books, sister books, if you want to call them that. And I didn't like Every Summer After. And I thought, you know what? I'm just going to stay away from Carly Fortune books because they're not for me. But then I ended up giving that one a chance. One Golden Summer was good to me. It was better than the other one. And I felt like if it was second chance, but not a second chance romance, I felt like if it was more so like second chance in life, like when you're getting to do life again and you're really trying to redeem yourself, prove yourself, I feel like that was an identity book where like main character, even the love interest was trying to find themselves, and I didn't see the plot twist coming, and I liked it. It was slow at first, and I felt like similarly to Love on the Brain, the main character was stubborn, but I don't think she was as stubborn as the one from Love on the Brain. Love on the Brain. So I never anticipated Charlie Florek. Good things happen at the lake. That's what happened. That's what Alice's grandmother says, and it's true. Alice just spent one summer at the cottage with Nan when she was 17. It's where she took that photo, the one that catapulted her career. Now Alice lives behind a lens. She's most comfortable on the sidelines, letting other people shine. Lately, though, she's been itching for some more. And when Nan falls and breaks her hip, Alice comes up with a plan for them both. Another summer in the magical place, Barry's Bay. But as soon as they settle in, their peace is disrupted by a roar of a familiar yellow boat and the man driving it. Charlie Florek was 19 when Alice took his photo from afar. Now he's all grown up, a shameless flirt who manages to make Nan laugh and Alice long to be 17 again. When life was simpler and taking pictures was just for fun, sun slanted days and warm nights out on the lake with Charlie are a balm for Alice's soul. But when she looks up and sees his piercing green eyes directly on her, she begins to worry for her heart. Because Alice sees people. That's why she's good at what she does. But she never met someone who looks and sees her right back. Sees her lips. That one does not give it away. And I do like that because when I was reading it, if I read the Barry's paper, I would have probably put two and two together. But like I said, I don't read summaries. So I didn't read the summary of this one. But I do like that it didn't give it away. It doesn't give away plot twist. It doesn't give away some key elements of the story that I like. And I do feel like the identity and the searching for yourself and the finding yourself and if I've moved, it's because the camera got cut off because my phone overheated. But I was saying, I believe that I do like how that book was. I did give it 4 or 5 stars. And if you want to see a more in depth video on what I think about that book, you can just click the link in the description. If these videos are not in the cards, they're in the description. So our TBR is ebook. We're gonna do Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood. Physical copy, we're gonna do You and Me on Vacation by Emily Henry. And Audible, we're gonna do Verity by Colleen Hoover. Hopefully, those three are the rest of the June TBR list. Of course, I'm not reading the summaries of those, going into them blind, and hopefully in the next video you'll see my review on those. Like the next wrap, you're going to see my review on those. Bye, guys.